Welcome to the Shift Your Reality podcast. I'm Kubra, a spiritual artist, intuitive astrologer, and coach. I channel paintings that help you hold space for your emotions, navigate them, and reconnect with your self-worth. Join me on this journey to self-actualization and discover the power within. Hello everyone, welcome to the Shift Your Reality podcast. This is your host Kubra Özgüvenç, and today I have another amazing guest, dear Anna Salido, who is a self-care and women's empowerment coach. She has a lot of meaningful things to share with us, but before, let me greet her on behalf of you. Welcome Anna, how are you today?
I'm good, Kubra. Thank you. Thank you for having me today. It's such a pleasure.
The pleasure is mine, and I can't wait to dive into our conversation. But before, with your own words, who you are, what you like to do in life, like what are your hobbies, we really would like to know more about you.
Yeah, that sounds good. So, as you said, I'm Anna. So I'm originally from France. Probably you can recognize the accent. I've been living in Australia for 8 years now. What was supposed to be just a year gap, after getting my degree, working 2 years in France, became a life-changing sort of experience. 8 years later, I'm still in Brisbane. That's where I called home now. During my free time, I love reading. My happy place, is by the ocean. I absolutely love it. There is a place that I love an hour away from Brisbane. I don't go there as often as I would like to, not anymore because of work and life but yeah, that's my happy place. I am pretty, I think a chill person. Try to be really mindful with my energy, how I give my energy, what I receive as well, because I learned, over the years that I am an introvert as much as I am extrovert. Yeah. My energy dropped really quickly. So it's not about me being shy or anything like this, because I would talk to anyone, but I need a lot of time to recover. And so, if I want to be present for myself, my partner, my clients, my friends, my family, I also need to look after myself. And that's something, that I learned over the years, the last couple of years. Otherwise, I just can't do it.
Yeah, I totally hear what you say. I used to consider myself as an extrovert until I recognized that I'm not an actual extrovert, but in between that scale actually. And it's really important to understand, embrace who you are with all of the flaws or pluses and minuses. And it really changed my life. I know that it did the same thing for you as well. From your sharings, posts, and everything. So, shall we dive into the questions?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay. What was the turning point in your life that made you realize you needed to prioritize yourself, and how did that shape the work you do today?
That's a deep, important question. It all started, I would say, the turning point for me was 10 years ago now, when after the breakup with my boyfriend at the time, when, after the breakup, I realized that, I had no idea who I was, what I wanted in life. I never had any boundaries, limits. It wasn't part of my life. It's almost like I had no idea what that was. It was all about, him. It was all about my friends. I also realized, that I didn't want to be seen as, the annoying one, the high maintenance girl. It was all about being the cool girl.
Yeah.
And the cool girl, is all about saying yes to everything. But what I discovered after the break, it's also, like I didn't have any self-love, self-compassion, self-esteem, self-confidence. None of that was part of my life. So I had to work through that to understand, like, because after the breakup, a lot of things, I realized it was like, I was blaming him, because I didn't realize, my part in all of that and what, so it was a big transformation, journey that took me where I am now, which I'm really thankful. The journey wasn't necessarily easy all the time, but
Yeah.
I'm really thankful because that's what I teach women, now, which is like, you need that self-love, you need that self-worth, you need that. And it's not about being selfish. It's not about being anything. It's just about being you. So if you are yourself, you show up in a way in your life with anyone, either in your personal life or at work, in a way that is just so powerful. Do you know what I mean? It's just like it changes everything. So for me, really the turning point was 10 years ago when, after the breakup with my boyfriend at the time.
May I ask a question? You don't have to answer this if it's too private, but was it a psychologically abusive relationship?
Uh, no, I can't say that. I
Yeah.
can't.
Okay.
What I would say though is he cheated on me a couple of times, which every time, I was finding an excuse. That wasn't really his fault, and we were young, and I didn't want to see, even though deep down my gut feeling was telling me, Anna, just leave. But when you don't want to listen, there is the universe was screaming at me, just leave. When you're not ready to see a sign, you know what I mean? The universe can scream as loud as it can, like
Yeah.
nothing is going to change. So it wasn't abusive. I wouldn't say that, but from his personality and where I was in my life, he influenced me a lot when, whatever he was saying, it was like, yes, he's right. So that's why, I don't want to put the blame on him
Yeah.
for everything, it's not about that. But it's also, I recognize that because I didn't have that self-worth, everything I mentioned before, it was like I was really under, his wing when it was like, no, he's right. It was more about that. It was more coming from that perspective.
Thank you for sharing. I asked it because of like out of professional curiosity, because my journey started with a gaslighting story, and everything you mentioned with the self was a huge part of my journey as well. So this is why I wanted to see if there is a resemblance, but I'm so happy for you that you didn't go that way. And even though you wait until the universe screams a lot, but still it must be well, I cannot say pleasant, but at least not a psychological abuse kind of thing. But still, you took all the lessons that you're supposed to. That's so amazing. I adore that. So, shall we pass to the second question? Is there anything else you'd like to add before? Okay, then.
No, I'm good.
Okay, for our listeners, I guess because of the distance, we have a delay in our voices, but we do our best to put our words there. And yeah, our second question is coming. How can women start saying no and setting boundaries without feeling guilty, especially when they are used to putting everyone else first? This is so deep, and I'm so happy that you mentioned that question, because I personally know that this is the main issue in all of the women's life. So,
Absolutely. There is not. So before I was doing that work, I was doing counseling, and I was doing a lot of relationship counseling. And that's where I also realized that my journey, from my journey, I could help a lot of women, because there was not a week, not a day when I wasn't hearing things like, Anna, I'm exhausted. It's everyone else before me. I don't know who I am anymore. I don't recognize myself. It's all about my kids, my husband, my partner, and that's where I was like, but that was my journey. That's their journey. And I think it's a women, deep down, it's also how we've been raised as well. The seed was planted. It's so ingrained, that that idea of, be nice.
Yeah.
When you hear that from a young age, like, oh, just, come on, don't be silly, be nice. It feels like such an innocent, sentence. You know what I mean? Like, I know
Yeah.
my nana, anyone that said that to me, didn't come from a place of, with anything bad in mind. It's not bad. But there is such a deep idea of self-sacrificing. It's not about what you want. Just
Yeah.
be nice. Once again, be the cool girl. Be nice.
Yeah.
Be the good girl.
Yeah.
So it's not about you. I need you to be good. Well, then, we wonder why, as grown up women, we still experience that. And then we take that into a relationship. We take that with our kids. We take that at work, because growing up, we heard that. So if you want to be loved, you want to be good, be a good girl.
Yeah.
So the first thing I work with women, it's changing the mindset around that. Because if your inner child doesn't feel safe to be like, you know what, I'm going to stop being nice, but I'm going to be kind instead, nothing is really going to change, because your inner child, she's just screaming like, that's not safe. Like, we're not going to be loved. No, thank you. So there is a mindset shift that needs to happen before you can actually see it in your, outside world.
Yeah. Yeah. This is one of the, as I mentioned in the beginning, main wounds that we all carry. And as you say, we actually find most of the time, especially when we talk about that stereotype, don't write first, don't do that, don't do this. And creating a false reality means creating false connections. And we cannot fake it until we die. So at a point, we should have take out that authentic person out. And when we do that, if we do it with time of getting full of the things that we have been carrying for so long, then we destroy everything. But being able to do that, setting the boundaries in the beginning, is kind of the key of unleashing the authentic self, reconnecting with your self-worth. And I loved all the things you said around it, because this is what I am also trying to deliver to the world. And I love how your words resonates with me. And thank you.
Thank you.
So let's go through the third question then. What are the biggest misconceptions about self-care, and how do you help women shift their mindset to see it as an essential part of self-worth? So listen carefully, guys, ladies, this is so important. Just the ladies, it's for everyone, but specifically for women, as you work with women.
Yeah, I do work mostly with women now. Once again, there is a big mindset shift that needs to happen around self-care, because for plenty of women, once again, it's like, but I don't want to be selfish. I don't have time. I don't have the money. I don't have this. I don't have that. And I'm like, do you want me to give you a list of a lot of things that's going to cost you zero, nothing at all, but it's going to change how you show up in the world and for yourself, the way you start your day, the way you can meditate. You can start by 5 minutes in the morning, at night, whatever, while you're having a shower, while whatever. You can, use, for me, how do I call that thing? I use that on my legs, and it's the gua sha sort of massage thing, like I got that in the bathroom. I do that as much as I can. It takes me 5 minutes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it helps me feel better. That's self-care. If I feel better, the way I will show up for myself, for the world, is going to be a game changer. Putting my legs, up the wall, for 5 minutes, after 10 minutes, after a busy day, straight away, I feel the tension just dropping in my body. Even if you have kids, even if you have a partner, sometimes I do that. And then I turn around and my puppy, is just making a mess. She grabbed something she's not supposed to. The apartment is not as clean as it should be. Do you know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
know that, yeah, don't get me wrong, I love a clean environment to go through my day because I work from home. But I also know that if my body body, my mind, I don't feel right in my body and my mind, the apartment can be clean. It's not going to change anything. So, it's really about, not what we should be doing, but really about what do I need, and knowing that 5 or 10 minutes, is it going to change the entire day or avoid anything bad happening in your day? No, it's going to change the way you react to it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree with that. When you determine that time to support yourself, support your body, support your mindset, this is what you put your aura as well. So I value about myself, I know my worth, and we know that spiritually 90% of our communication is at the energetic plane, and the 10% is the words and the other things. And so when we don't put in our aura that message, I value myself, I am worthy of love and this and that, if we don't put it there, the person we communicate directly acts from a place of that. So whatever we put our aura, the person that we communicate with treat us from that place actually. So it's just 5 minutes maybe, as you say, or 10 minutes, but it is huge. And for the cleaning the apartment, I love organized places, and I love like a good view when I'm working, as I'm working from home as well. But I also know that when my mind is not organized, I see that in my apartment. It's just directly a reflection of my mind, how do I feel in that moment, and so on. So before cleaning the house, I think it's important to clean the mind, and sometimes I do both together because both help each other to, just the bubbles on a soap or beer. I love it happening. So thank you so much for all those beautiful questions and answers. And before we wrap up, I want to ask you two more things. First, there is a freebie that you would like to share with the audience. And can you tell about the freebie a little bit for us, please?
Yeah, sure. So it's a freebie that I created, so it's 15 ideas for you to reconnect with, yourself, your feminine essence. Because when we go back to self-care, I think it's, looking after yourself. But if we talk about, on an energy level, it's also, that feminine energy. And so it's a way to reconnect, with yourself. So it's 15 ideas. So you can't say, I'm running out of ideas, I don't know where to start. It's like you can go through it. 15 ideas, 15 days. You can do that for 15 days in a row to help you to reconnect with yourself. So that's why I created, something like this to help women, because I know how it is when life gets busy. We don't know where to start. That's another thing as well. I've been there. I know what that is when we feel overwhelmed by a world we don't necessarily know anything about. It can be scary. It can be overwhelming. And I think our jobs as, coaches and mentor, and it's also to help you to not feel overwhelmed and to start with baby steps.
Yeah.
So it's the freebie is all about that.
Thank you. It's so generous of you, and I loved it. And is there any upcoming projects that you would like to mention? I think in a month or so we will be releasing this episode. So if there is anything you're planning to start, you're very welcome to share with the ones who listened to this episode and resonated with your words.
Sure, thank you. So I created, at the moment, it's a one-on-one personalized, coaching program, 4 weeks, where I coach once a week for 4 weeks, women. It's called the Modern Woman. And that's where, I teach in a short period of time, almost everything, not everything, but a lot of things that I learned over the last decade about how to prioritize yourself, to know your needs, your values, how to communicate them, because I think for a lot of women, that's also an issue. How to set boundaries, to have limits, what that means, getting out of that, good girl, being good sort of mindset for you to be, because it's not about becoming anything, because as women, we are that woman anyway already. It's all about, unleash that woman, give yourself permission to be that woman. And it's not, I think the Modern Woman program is all about that.
Wow, sounds
It's
amazing.
getting that push, for women to, to unleash and to be themselves as much as they can. Because I know being ourselves means everything and nothing at the end of the day, especially when you are at the beginning of your journey and you don't even know who you are. It's like, well, that's amazing, but what do I do with that?
Yeah.
And don't stress, that person is there already. You need someone to help you. You need someone to push you. You need someone to support you. You need a cheerleader on the side to help you see that woman, because she is there. Everything you see in other women, you've got it. You've got it if you want to. But because you've got layers and layers of things, that we need to get rid of. So the Modern Woman is all about that.
Wow, that sounds amazing. And I think it is so important to emphasize that even receiving support is about self-worth. So anyone who's listening to that, you are worthy of being supported by an expert, by someone that can hold space for you, to support you, to unleash the goddess within. And thank you so much, all the sharings you did. And I'm so happy that you are here today with me, with the audience. And well, guys, as you know, you can connect to Anna through her links in the show notes. And as I always say, may joy be with you, and I love you.